So after 33 years, why did you decide to write this book now?
After Elvis died, I went through a transition there where I was so upset with the way things were being handled that I didn't want it to have anything to do with Elvis. I mean, I didn't want people to talk to me about it. People would ask me about writing a book, and I'd say, no, I just don't want to think about all those things.
When did he start taking drugs?
The first that I had heard about him taking drugs was in the Army, and I heard that he took some amphetamines when he would drive from Memphis to California for a movie. He was afraid to fly, so he would take some amphetamines to stay awake.
Amphetamines, barbiturates, sleeping pills. Why did Elvis need so many drugs?
There's not a drug that treats everything. One drug that you can give somebody and will take care of their flu, will take care of their ulcer disease, will take care of everything that's wrong with somebody.
Did you overprescribe medication to Elvis Presley?
Elvis wanted these prescriptions in his name so his daddy wouldn't raise hell with him for spending money for somebody else. And so that all these things were written in his name, and it looked like that he was taking all these medicines, and he wasn't. I mean, Elvis never even had control of his medications. I kept all his medicines, and I not only kept them, but I hired a nurse to stay out there with him to handle his medicines. So we never gave him. He didn't have control of the medicines.
Do you or did you ever regret giving Elvis all of the pills that he had been taking and that you prescribed? At any point, did you regret it?
No, I don't regret anything that I gave him. I think they were medical necessities. I think we were treating diseases. I guess the problem is I didn't know everything he was taking from other people.
It's a big problem.
That's a big problem.
Were there a lot of enablers around him?
Yeah, I guess 3/4 of the people that worked there were enablers.
And do you think that they were contributing to his addictions? Was he a drug addict?
There was only one time for sure that I knew he was a drug addict. And that was a time when he came back, he flew into Memphis after he'd had a series of acupuncture treatments from a doctor in California. The doctor had sold him on a bill of goods that he's going to clear up his back pain and clear up this pain doing this acupuncture. But he wasn't using acupuncture needles, he was using syringes. And the syringes had Demerol in them, and cortisone, and Xylocaine, which is a local anesthetic. And of course, he always felt better after that. I mean, he even talked to some of the other guys to go into the same acupuncture because he was so good.
That perpetuated the controversy around how Elvis died and what it was, in fact, that actually killed him and who did it.
The reason there was so much controversy was you had a committee of pathologists with two different views, medical examiners or forensic pathologists who want only to come up with an accurate and sustainable and provable cause of death and then manner of death. Now, cause of death, for example, might be drowning, but manner of death could be an accidental drowning, a suicidal drowning, unknown. So those are the two things a forensic pathologist would look at. Generally speaking, hospital pathologists are listing all the organic problems and disease processes they identify. There was no initial and acute cause of death clearly established. So then it came down to lab testing. We had several labs testing the samples from the Presley autopsy, and they were somewhat consistent in their results, but none of their results established a baseline of medications or byproducts of medications in Elvis Presley that were even toxic. Now, those medications are found in different levels. They're absent or trace or therapeutic, the level that the medication was intended to work in your body. The next level is toxic, that level at which it makes you sick. And the final level is lethal. In the Presley autopsy, there were no lethal levels, nor were there any toxic levels. So for the first time, to my knowledge, in medical history, the diagnosis was formulated by the pathologist from the hospital that it was a polypharmacy. I think they may have even coined that term, but I'm not sure. But they felt like the combination of those drugs, in the absence of any other cause of death, was a probable cause of death. Of course, that autopsy has never been made public. And Dr. Francisco, who was the state medical examiner and the county medical examiner, determined that it was a natural death because of this very large, sick heart with a history of heart problems or hospitalizations, and also because of the investigation at the scene, which did not indicate that this was an overdose death at all. So, two different views, and since it was cloaked in secrecy, there was no clear-cut answer. But he died a natural death.
Since you had been the focus of so much controversy in regards with Elvis's death, what would you think Michael Jackson's doctor, Conrad Murray, is going through right now, being the focus of the investigation?
That's hard to answer because we don't have the toxicology studies back yet. And we don't have all the answers yet. I'm sure that he's running scared. I mean, to be a cardiologist and be there on hand and have somebody die, which is not that unusual. You can't. Everybody that you do CPR and that doesn't live. So I think until we got a full deck of cards laid out, that we don't know.